Hello, my name is Francis Fox. I'm a trained remote viewer. I was in a secret government program that has still not been declassified. I was trained in remote viewing, interspecies communication, many other things. But what's important today is that I can give you extra information having to do with astrology and the planets, even though I was never trained as an astrologer. The same as I'm not trained in business school, and I do an awful lot of nicely profitable business consulting. And a lot of people that are sick and don't quite know what's going on consult with me, including several medical doctors. So I take my remote viewing skills and apply them to fields that I'm not familiar with, that I wasn't trained in, which is exactly the protocol that I'm supposed to be using. When you are a remote viewer or a psychic, you're not supposed to be reading something that you know a lot about. Because if you know a lot about it, you're going to have a lot of opinions. And that messes up the information that you're delivering. So let's get to it. Every time I do astrology, weekly astrology for the different signs, I always determine what it is that I would think that people would need at that point, and not just the shotgun effect of what's going on for Aries. It turns out that there's a lot of noise having to do with new viruses. And so, what I'm going to do is use the information about your health as a filter. And I'm going to work from the point of view of wanting to know, what do you need to pay attention to ensure that you're healthy. Uh, I want to remind you that you cannot die unless you intend on it. Doesn't matter, even if you get run over by a bus, you won't die unless that's your intention. You also will not get sick unless that's your intention. Okay, so what's the missing information here? Because too many people get sick, they complain every step of the way, blame the doctor, blame the virus, blame whatever. The trick of the matter is that you don't know what's going on inside of you. And that's why people like me are needed, to kind of pull back a veil and show you something that you haven't been willing to see, that you didn't know that you should look for, such as, why did you get sick? So I'm going to do a very short story, and then I'm going to continue on with the 12 astrological signs and say what you should probably pay attention to stack the deck in your favor having to do with health. So many years ago, one of my sisters called and asked me how I was doing, and I had a cold. So how are you doing? I said, oh, I have a cold. She said, well, why are you sick? I found that question insulting. She was making me responsible for a cold. So I said to her, I never get sick, which is true. She said, yeah, okay, but why are you sick now? And I didn't have an answer. We continued the conversation. I was very irritated when I hung up, because I know my sister is so incredibly bright. I said, you know what? Let me look and see if maybe I can see something. Turned out that I was sick with a cold because I was feeling sorry for myself. And I knew that was true. Instantly, the cold went away. Well, that's interesting. Throughout the years, as I would start to feel like I had a cold or virus coming on, I would ask myself, am I feeling sorry for myself? And it was always a yes. And I never got sick again from colds, except for one time when I was so cranky, I could feel the cold. And I said, you know what? I want to be sick. I have the right to be sick. I'm never sick. So, you know what? I got sick. And got sick because I wanted some downtime, people to feel sorry for me. So if you get sick, there's a reason for it, because you chose it. And until we can all wrap our heads around the fact that we create every inch of our reality, we're going to continue to be victims of ourselves. So let's go ahead, and I put the medicine Buddha as the thumbnail for these horoscopes. And I'm going to have them up on my site, on my social media, so that you should please download it and have it someplace where everybody can see it. And it has been said that just looking at the medicine Buddha will give you an instant healing. So why don't you go ahead and also do the mantra that the dolphins are recommending for this cycle that we're entering in, where supposedly there's going to be at least 3 viruses that could take us down. I'm not saying that you should believe this. I'm saying what is being said. I'm repeating what is being said. But why don't you go ahead and try the mantra that the dolphins have already offered us as a tool to hone our mind to ensure we don't get sick. So the mantra is, please God, help me with my intention to be miraculously healthy. And that's it. You repeat it in silence in your mind, you expel the breath through your mouth, and you do it a lot of times. And then take down take the photograph of the medicine Buddha and post it someplace and just smile every time you see it. And just ask the medicine Buddha for healing. So let's go ahead. Let me use my remote viewing skills and let me go through the 12 signs for you to be able to know what could be a weakness that would have to do with the energies that the planets are sending you. So we're going to go ahead and start as usual with Aries. Aries is a male sign with the element of fire channeling through it. So, Aries, what do you need to know? I see in the back of your solar plexus, in the back of your stomach, there's a wall. The back wall of your stomach is all red and inflamed and irritated with excess fire element. That the fire element is what um, Aries channels. That's the element you channel. So you need to reduce your fire. Remember, all medicines on this planet, except for modern medicine, say that health is the balance of the elements: air, earth, water, fire. Yeah, those are the four. And so you have an excess of the fire exactly in the energy center that channels fire, which is your solar plexus. It's also the solar plexus is the energy center that channels your personal power. So move along and get this taken care of, get that fire reduced. And the Chinese say you cannot be happy unless you have good digestion. I think they might be right. I'm Cancer, and our digestions are very weak. So reducing your fire, cannabis reduces fire, watermelon, aloe vera, uh, baking soda. Taking a little bit of baking soda, especially at night before you go to bed, is really good for that. But start looking it up and start paying attention to reducing the fire in your solar plexus, digestion, etc., because that is the weakness. That could be the portal via which one of these three plagues could come in and affect you. Okay? Going on to the next sign is Taurus. Taurus is a female sign and it's an earth sign. Taurus, what's your big weakness having to do with staying healthy? Your big weakness is your continuous, nonstop, exhausting fear. Now, fear is something that Tauruses live with every minute of every day since they're born. It's part of what the planets send the people that are Taurus. So this is not surprising that it would be your big weakness in terms of health. So let's give you a mantra, which would be, even though I'm afraid of getting sick, I love and accept myself. Even though I'm afraid of getting sick, I love and accept myself. And then, of course, that's the purification mantra to vacuum out this fear that you have that will get triggered having to do with these viruses. And then do the intention mantra. Please, God, help me with my intention to be miraculously healthy. Okay, Taurus? Taurus, you cannot allow your mind to run around like a runaway car with your fears, because basically it doesn't allow you to be happy in any area, in any issue, not just health. So you're going to find that your life is going to improve if you, morning, noon, and night, do this mantra of, even though I'm afraid, I love and accept myself. It's not such a big deal, because when you're not doing the mantra, all you're doing is recycling fears, Taurus. Okay? So let's go on with the next sign, which is Gemini, which is a male sign and it's an air sign. Gemini, what is your weakness when it comes to health? What needs to change so that these plagues that they say could be coming uh, do not land on you? Gemini, you don't pay enough attention to things. You have really good focus when you want something, when you have an intention, when you have a mission, when you have something, a project, you focus and then everything else can fall by the wayside. A bomb can explode next to you and you keep your focus. This is really good for creating reality. This is not good for your physical body because your physical body will be trying to tell you when you're too tired and you need to rest, when you need to stop and eat food, when you need to stop eating certain foods, when there's certain things that you're doing that are not good for you, your body will talk to you. Gemini, you don't listen. So I suggest that you start to listen because you're going to want to be primed at a time when it's being said, whether it's all disinformation lies, whether we're trying to be controlled, but it's being said by an awful lot of people that there will be viruses. And health is so, and illnesses have always been used as a way of exiting the planet, as a way of dying. When life is so miserable and you really don't feel like continuing forward, you don't think you're going to win. A lot of people choose a type of suicide that is very elegant and graceful, which is to die. Don't do that, Gemini. You got a lot of good projects. Our president is a Gemini, and he has incredible focus and he has too many projects. So it might be important for those that love him, those around him, to remind him, let it go, sit here, go ahead and eat. Maybe you shouldn't be having so many McDonald's hamburgers. Maybe you should, da da, but try to get the Gemini because I suspect he's not going to do it on his own. Um, Try to get the Gemini, take the responsibility for yourself. Take care of your body. Listen to it. Okay? The good news is that our president plays a lot of golf, which means he gets a lot of the earth element because it's outside. And earth element is what in the original Lord's Prayer it is said that protects you from evil. In the original Lord's Prayer in Aramaic, it doesn't say delivers from evil. It says help us to be in the present, which means to be totally landed and rooted, which means connected to earth, connected to the earth element. So our president doesn't need more earth element. Perhaps the other Geminis might want to double up on the time they spend outdoors. Okay, let's go ahead with the next astrological sign and see where the weakness could be in their health that they should pay attention to now. And that would be Cancer. Cancer is a water sign, which means emotions, and it is a female sign. Um, Cancer. I see you have a sinking feeling in your stomach. So, and cancers, their weakness in terms of health is digestion. So I see it's like your stomach drops from this fear. So I would say that you are living with a lot of fear and you're not dealing with it. You're just continuing on with your projects and you kind of know that you're afraid, but you're not really dealing with it. Um, so Your mantra needs to be, even though I'm afraid, I love and accept myself. And the fear is not the fear of the plague. The fear is other things that are going on in your life. And it is also very much a part of the Cancer horoscope um, environment because the planets send it every day, fear and depression, which together with the two can create a feeling of impotence. You're not impotent, Cancer. But you do tend not to pay enough attention to your emotions because the volume is too high. You need to pay attention at this point. You need to make yourself strong so that you don't get taken down by some silliness, or you get so tired that you have a subconscious desire to just kind of lay down, take it easy, take a break. This is not the way to take a break, Cancer. So go ahead and do the mantra. Even though I'm afraid, I love and accept myself. And let's go ahead and continue with the next sign, which is Leo. Leo is a male sign and it's a fire sign. Leo, what is your weakness having to do with health? What should you pay attention to? It's fire, and it's in the back part of your body. Um, I saw this when I did the horoscopes in Spanish also. I don't understand why you would just have it in the back and not in the front. But the back of us is usually the future. And then what you see on the front is like what's manifesting. So maybe something is going to make you like really cranky and you're going to get really angry. I don't know. All I know is it's too much fire. So I would suggest that you do the mantra music, the one that's called Agni. It's in our YouTube page. And I would suggest that you have that on as much as you can. It's cascading ice water and glaciers, and the elements transfer even in images. And um, that particular mantra music video has images of ice and water. It will help reduce the fire. It also has musical notes that reduce the fire. So I would suggest that. And visualize yourself inside an igloo. When you get upset or cranky or something is really bothering you, things aren't going your way, Leo, just visualize you're sitting inside an igloo and do your fuming from inside there. But get your fire reduced. Remember, the cannabis also reduces fire, watermelon, aloe vera. Okay, so let's continue on and let's go to Virgo, which is a female sign. It's in an earth sign. Virgo. Where's your weakness? Virgo, you're a mess. It's almost like you have some kind of a wet blanket thrown on top of you, but it reaches just to your shoulders. Your third eye is not looking good. Uh, you're limping in terms of power. You're lost. You can't see anything ahead, which means that your third eye is not doing well. And I do know somebody who's Virgo, and I know that he has his third eye is limping. So maybe this is happening for all the Virgos. Um, I don't see you happy. I see you stumbling. So I'm not quite sure what mantra to give you. But I would definitely do full time the mantra, please God help me with my intention to be miraculously healthy. I think you need to get somebody to do a deeper assessment and figure out what's going on with you, Virgo, because this that I'm seeing of you stumbling around at in end times when so much negative has been predicted and also so much beautiful is happening and being predicted. I think you need to not dilly dally in terms of addressing whatever it is that has you stumbling around in the dark. Okay? That's all I can give you for now, Virgo. So continuing on, we have the next sign is Libra. Libra is a male sign, it's an air sign. This same image as when I did this in Spanish. You do not look good, except now you look worse. I don't know. It's got to be black magic. I don't know that it could be any other thing. Maybe there's something else going on. But you're like from the bottom of your lip to like your breast level. It's like somebody took a knife, and sliced through you several times. So this would be heart chakra. So this would be somebody is killing your heart and your heart chakra, or something happened that killed your heart and your heart chakra. The only problem with that is your health is very much associated with the thymus, which is right here, which is where you're chopped up, literally chopped up, like sliced. It's too artificial for it to be something that's natural. It looks and feels like something unnatural. In other words, you didn't do it to yourself. Somebody or something did this to you. So I suggest that you go and find yourself some help and get this taken care of. But you should already be feeling not great. I would do the mantra for the plague which the dolphins gave. Please God help me with my intention to be miraculously healthy. And I think I would find out what's going on with your heart chakra. There's an herb called calendula that's very good for it, but I don't think that calendula is going to take care of this mess that I am seeing. Now, who do we know in politics so that we would all know? Kamala Harris is um, a Libra. And this that I'm seeing is very much a broken heart, whether the person broke it themselves or somebody else is doing that person in. It would make sense that she would have a broken heart when she just lost presidential race and things are not looking so great. So we're going to go ahead and continue. Um, we're going to go to the next sign, which is Scorpio. Scorpio is a really interesting sign. Scorpios are all about helping other people with their karma. Yeah, I know. You know Scorpios, and they're like, oh my God, they are scary. Yes, because Scorpios are determined that you or other people deal with their issues, which some people call karma. And some people would prefer not to have to deal with it. And Scorpio is here to help you, to put it in your face, sometimes through really poor behavior. But let's see what Scorpio needs to know now, having to do with these plagues that are supposedly coming at us. Um, I see you, there's a suitcase there, and you're turning around and you're just saying, just everybody get out of my way. Just get out of my way. Um, just get out of my way. I think you should do the mantra of being miraculously healthy. Uh, um, I don't see that you're susceptible. I see you're determined to walk away from something, get away from something. So I don't see you having a weakness now in terms of getting sick, unless you end up being trapped where you're at, which is not would make you very unhappy. So I would do the mantra about being miraculously healthy and just leave it at that. Okay. And good luck with whatever it is that you're trying to get out of so that you can actually do what you want to do, even though you may not even know what you want. Okay. That's okay. If you don't know what you want, Scorpio and everybody else, the most effective mantra is, please God help me with my intention to align with my miraculously prosperous mission. Got that? Miraculously prosperous mission. And let's continue on to the next sign, which is Sagittarius. Sagittarius is a male sign and it's a fire sign. Sagittarius, you do not look good. You don't look like you can even sit in a chair. You keep sliding off of it to the ground. And then you get back up again and you're telling people, I'm fine. But you're not fine. You have no strength. You overworked, you overdid, you knew it when it was happening, but you were so miserable with your life, you preferred to overwork, etc. So you just continue to overwork. And right now, you're not well positioned when it comes to anything having to do with health. You're very poorly positioned because you wiped yourself out. So if I were you, I would concentrate on my kidneys. Coconut water is supposed to be incredible. There are countries in this world that do not ever do anything with kidneys in terms of dialysis or in terms of surgery. All they do is put the person on coconut water for days or weeks. Now, I'm not suggesting you do this. I'm not a medical doctor, but I think you should look it up. And I'm not suggesting you do that, but I'm suggesting you do add coconut water to your routine, your health routine. I'm cancer. I deal with a lot of fear, and I've had issues with my kidneys, which I do not need to go to a doctor for because I have taken care of it myself before it reaches a point to where my physical kidneys are sick. But I have been drinking coconut oil for coconut water for years, and I buy it. I'm in Miami, so it's easier, but I buy it and I freeze it in glass containers. Like I'll get half-gallon jugs and I'll freeze it in glass containers, and that way I always have coconut water. I suggest that you do the Sagittarius. Because the kidneys are the part of the body that relate to bottom line health, strength, vitality. That's where your vitality starts. And I think you just basically overdid it. Not a good thing to enter this cycle like this, Sagittarius. Okay. So please take care of the issue. Um, and of course, do the mantra of being miraculously healthy. But you have a baseline health issue that you have not taken care of because you abandoned yourself. You threw yourself into work to get away with something that was making you miserable. So now you're going to be miserable plus unhealthy. Take care of the health. Everything else is easier to deal with if your physical body is okay and you're healthy. So we're going now to Capricorn, which is a female sign and it's an earth sign. Capricorn, what do you need to know about your health? You're a worry wart. You worry about everybody. I see you bent over vomiting, and it's because of a scare. So why don't you do the purification mantra all day long? Even though I'm afraid, I love and accept myself. And then when you get tired of that, do the mantra, please God help me with my intention to be miraculously healthy. You're just afraid for your family, and Capricorns do take care of their people. But this is a high level of fear with that vomiting because you got a piece of information. I mean, the situation must be very frightening, or you're in a very weakened state having to do with fear. So do the mantra. You're going to immediately feel the difference. For those of you that are listening, you don't really have to believe me. Just try it. Check yourself before you start a mantra from 1 to 10. How do you feel? And then when you do several of the mantras, you never move your mouth with the words. It's all silent in your head. Then go back and see, how do you feel? From 1 to 10, how did you feel before you started the mantra? From 1 to 10, how do you feel when you did, let's say, 10 or 15 of the mantras? And you'll see the difference. So I strongly suggest this, Capricorn. This is too much pressure for you. And the world is very complicated, and you feel very responsible for too many people. So you need to take care of your reaction to that responsibility and that love, and just do the fear mantra. And then when you're not doing that, the one on health. Okay, continuing on to the next sign, which is Aquarius, which is a male sign and it's an air sign. Aquarius. What do you need to know about health? I don't see you paying any attention. I see you having like a deck of cards in your hand, and then you're throwing cards up in the air like this, and then you're twirling around the room, throwing cards up in the air, and I don't get that. I don't understand that. Um, and you're not going in the correct direction, because if you were going counterclockwise, then you would be anchoring and rooting, which is really good. I see it clockwise, which means you're into your head. So, in terms of your health, what I see is that if you stub your toe and you happen to crack a nail or do something, you look it up on the internet, and then you keep looking, and you want more information, you want more information, you want more information. And in all of that information that you're looking at, someplace it said that if you have a wound in your toe and it doesn't heal, you might need to have your foot amputated. And then you go off on that. Oh my God, I may have to have my foot amputated. Why? Well, I stubbed my toe. Well, nobody has a foot amputated if they stub their toe. Yes, but it says on the internet that if you end up with a wound there that doesn't heal for a long time, then you could it may end up being gangrene, and they may have to amputate. And the person says, yeah, but how long has this not been healed? Well, no, it's been just a couple days. Okay, well, let me see it. Well, no, you can barely see it. You don't have gangrene, Aquarius. What you have is an overactive mind, and you're doing too much research. Well, quit with the research and do the mantras. Okay? Because what you're doing is you're looking for something to worry about, because you need to keep your mind busy. Well, that's what mantras are for. Your mind is your tool for creation. We make ourselves crazy by thinking all these things. And then you, Aquarius, go and you look up till the end. What could be the worst thing that could happen if you stub your toe? You could need your foot amputated. It's not going to happen, Aquarius. So stop with that kind of behavior that's not working and use mantras. And I am witness to the fact that you can substitute your compulsive fears and your compulsive thoughts with mantras. Because I'm a Cancer and I did not know that part of being a Cancer was to have compulsive thoughts. I just thought that was me. I never told anybody. I was so ashamed of it. I don't have compulsive thoughts anymore. When I start on something that I'm going to get started, I grab whatever it is that's bothering me and I formulate a purification mantra. And then it ends up purifying it out, closing the door, and I'm not there anymore. And then I need to figure out what my next mantra is going to be. What else is bothering me, or what do I want to create? And then I use the intention mantra. In your case, Aquarius, you want to create miraculous health. So I strongly suggest you start learning to substitute mantras for thoughts, because mantras can either purify bad stuff or create good stuff. Whereas thoughts generally are compulsive thoughts and they're circular and they never get you anyplace. Okay? Continuing on to the last sign, which is Pisces. Pisces is a female sign and it's a water sign. Water's emotions. Pisces. What do we need to know about your health and these plagues that are supposedly upon us? Pisces. You have a lot of black around you. You've had a lot of depression, but right now the upper part of your body doesn't have the mind streams are not struggling with all that black gook. But yes, from your under your breast down, your mind strings um, are shaking off a lot of depression. So for whatever reason, you're shaking off depression. And this is the response to my question as to what do you need to know about staying healthy during the plague. And what you need to do is continue with your purification of your depression. So I would do the mantra. I would do two intention mantras. The first one is, please God help me with my intention to miraculously heal my depression. Remember to repeat it in silence. You inhale through the nose, you exhale through your mouth. Your shoulders relax. It's really helpful. And then the other mantra, which is to be miraculously healthy. I think you're in a transformation, Pisces. This is a really good thing. You probably feel terrible, but you're in a really good place. The top part of your body is full of light. I have not seen that before in you. And the bottom part of your body is releasing. So eventually you're going to be totally full of light. So accept the fact that transformations can be really ugly. Really, really ugly. So we finished with the horoscopes. I want to remind everybody that we are no longer in the age of information. We are in the age of transformation. So the whole obsession with Google, the whole habit of anytime somebody says something, somebody will go, "Oh, look, I'll get that information." They pull up their phone, which is right there anyway, because they're addicted to it, and they'll find it in Google and said, "This is what it says," and that's there, and everybody contributing bits and pieces of information. Everybody's so proud of ourselves that we have this information. That age is over. The age of information is over. Thank God, because disinformation was killing us. But we're in the age of transformation. So transformations whereas we're really proud when we can get on Google in 2 seconds flat with our little cell phone, which is already always stuck to our bodies, and it makes us, that's like a high. It gives us like a hit and a high. Age of transformation doesn't give you that. The age of transformation is one blow after the other of all the things that you realize you're not really happy with, that you've accepted, or changes that you need to do, or stuff that you see inside yourself and you just want to slit your wrist. Age of transformation can be really ugly, the transformations. But at the end of it. It's very beautiful. And you never have to go back there again. You finished with it. You may have been carrying it for many incarnations, but you finished it. You transformed. That's where Pisces is at right now. That's where a lot of people are at. And the planet is at. And the elements help a lot. Going to bathe in the beach and going to the mountains. What doesn't help is a lot of electricity and Wi-Fi and 5G. That's very bad for transformation. But anyway, so I'm Frances Fox, and again, I'm not an astrologer. If somebody put a gun to my head and said, "I want you to do my astrological chart," I would say, "Go ahead and shoot me," because I don't know how to do that. But I do know how to acquire information that might be important um, in practically any field. And the less I know about the field is kind of the better. The less I know about the person, the better. And I don't know you at all. So these horoscopes should be pretty good. You should read all the horoscopes because every one of everybody that is a child of yours, a mate of yours, a friend of yours, works with you as your boss, all of them have astrological signs and characteristics. So maybe you'll see a Gemini, like our president, and you'll see them totally overworking. Meanwhile, there's three plagues running around the planet, and you might go, "Oh, wow, you know what? Francis's horoscope said that Geminis don't pay enough attention. So they're not going to even know when they would become vulnerable to becoming sick." So you might want to say to a Gemini, "You know what? You need to pay more attention to your body. You need to get up off that chair. Let's go walk outside," or whatever. So reading the horoscopes for everybody is actually a way of you being able to support them. It's also a way for you to know something about them that may help you in your relationship with them. Like, let's say you're related to a Sagittarius. Not a time to be offering a new project. They don't have the strength to even sit up on a chair. Let's say you have a project and you want to go in with a Virgo. Not such a great idea. They're not in a good place. They can't see straight. There's something going on with them that's not good that they need to take care of. So maybe starting a new project with a Virgo is not a good idea. So that is the way in which this extra information can help you in terms of your decisions, in terms of your life. I'll never forget many years ago when I had a radio show. It was really going well. I had a really good producer, and I love what I do, and I'm pretty good on the radio. And even other radio stations were saying that we should get syndicated, my show, because it was so great. It's all this metaphysical stuff and astrology, and everybody loves that. But I had an astrologer on as a guest, and she said to me, "It's such a shame your show's not going to continue." And I went, "What?" She said, "Yeah, you started it in a really bad cycle." Well, at that time, I really didn't know that I really should have checked astrologically. I didn't. And I did start it in a really bad cycle, and the show didn't continue for all sorts of weird reasons. Astrologically, it was not supported. So astrology is important. And if somebody says to you, "Yeah, but what is science?" Science is 600 years old. Hello, wake up. Astrology has been a part of the information that power players on planet Earth since the beginning of time have used to make decisions. Like, I didn't use it and I lost a radio show. And it was, I think at that point, it was like $80,000 that had cost me to set that whole thing up. So don't throw the science at me, because science means to observe and draw conclusions. We have 5,000 years of observation and conclusions on astrology. People are not dumb. It's like the number one thing that people look up in the internet. Do you think all those people are dumb? Do you think all those people don't have anything better to do? Or do you think that they've noticed that some of the information is very helpful? So be careful who you pay attention to, and be careful who you put as your God. And because we have used science in ways that are totally unacceptable and not compatible with the definition of science. But astrology falls under science. Observe and draw conclusions. You can't have all that information online if it wasn't for people observing. It's not possible. So I'm going to go ahead and let it go at this. And thank you for joining me. Remember, we have our podcast, Francis Fox News from Other Dimensions, on Spotify and on Apple. And of course, we have all of our chats in Spanish on all of our social media, Francis Fox Reveals. Thank you for joining me. Bye.